What's going on, guys? Austin here. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at 5-Minute Fantasies Week 10 Booming and Busting Defenses. Picking the defenses is, a pretty fun one for me because that takes a look at, like the entire team. Basically, it's just kind of like choosing an over-under on the points. I'm going to say the teams that you're going to want to start are absolutely Baltimore. Baltimore coming into the season, they were projected to have like one of the top 5 defenses in the league. They had one last year, and then they went and added Earl Thomas. They had their really good Marlon Humphrey and Tony Jefferson. Their safeties and cornerbacks. Now they've got Marcus Peters for the injured Tony Jefferson, I believe. But for some reason Baltimore really hasn't been producing so far this year. Going up against Cincinnati. If Baltimore's out there, go and find them. They're going to have a great game. Green Bay. I think the Green Bay Packers have a good defense. They've got good defensive personnel. Through the first 5 weeks of this season, they had led the league in turnover differential, meaning that, of course, a lot of that's Aaron Rodgers not turning the ball over, but a lot of quarterbacks are pretty good at not turning the ball over in today's NFL. But Green Bay forced a lot of turnovers, a lot of fumbles, a lot of interceptions. And I think that they'll be able to get a few interceptions off Kyle Allen this week. I'm going to say start Kansas City's defense. After what you saw them do against Minnesota, Tennessee is basically the exact same team that the Minnesota Vikings are, except downgrade at quarterback, downgrade at the 2 wide receiver positions, and upgrade at offensive line. Otherwise it's like the same style, same structure. So basically they can implement last week's game plan onto this week. Only Kansas City's horrible defense may be able to outmatch just skill-wise Tennessee's offense. Kansas City probably is not picked up, but if you just have terrible defensive matchups and there's nobody out in the league, find Kansas City. And then I'm going to say start Cleveland. I think that Cleveland is going to be able to do a lot to Buffalo. I think I picked Buffalo to win this game just because I like Buffalo a lot better than Cleveland, but I think that Cleveland's defense could potentially end up forcing, an interception or two and maybe, only giving up like 21 points or something like that. Again, like these are middle of the pack picks, nothing special, but I think that Cleveland can really slow down Buffalo. At the same time, I know it's going to sound weird, but the Buffalo defense is what I'm worried about this week. I don't think you should start Buffalo's defense going up against Cleveland. I don't think that Cleveland's going to be turning the ball over because in the last 3 weeks, this Buffalo defense will be the third worst, the worst defense in the last 3 weeks defense that Cleveland has played. They've played New England, then they went to Denver, and now they're playing Buffalo. So I think they're going to be running the football a lot. I don't think they're going to be turning it over a lot. And I think that they could potentially score 17 points without any turnovers, with not many sacks. Even though I think Buffalo's going to win this game and that Cleveland's defense is going to be better than Buffalo's, I would sit Buffalo's defense. I'm going to say sit the Giants' defense. They've been getting good pass rush. They've been doing a lot of things well with their limited personnel, but I don't think they can do much against the Jets this week. It's just mismatches in terms of position groups. I'm going to say sit Carolina, even though Carolina's been having a really great defense so far this year. It's Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay after a terrible loss on the road that seemed like a home game against the Chargers. I think that Aaron Rodgers could potentially throw 4 touchdowns this week. Be careful, don't touch Carolina. And then Chicago. I think that Chicago is absolutely demoralized because of their quarterback situation. I still have no idea. I was shocked when they traded up because I thought they were going to trade up to get Solomon Thomas. And if they didn't draft Solomon Thomas, I thought they were going to get Deshaun Watson. Dabo Swinney literally said he's Michael Jordan. And yet somehow they drafted this guy out of North Carolina that nobody's ever heard of. I mean, it was as random as the Daniel Jones draft, even though we had heard about Daniel Jones, like that he might go to the Giants. This is just ridiculous. But the Chicago defense, they don't believe in their team anymore. They're on like a 2 or 3 game losing streak against teams that they should absolutely be able to beat. And I don't think that Chicago can match Detroit's high-powered offense. Detroit has the number 1 and the number 2 receiver, Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones, in terms of touchdown receptions. They're tied with other guys. But number 1 and number 2. Matthew Stafford, even though, he plays for Detroit and nobody cares about Detroit, Matthew Stafford is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now, this very moment. Look to sit Chicago. I think that Chicago could potentially lose this game 31-21, off of, like 4 touchdown passes from Matthew Stafford and, an extra field goal or something like that. So be careful about starting them.